Yeah, hello and welcome back to Kinda Neat. I'm here today to settle the age-old debate and answer once and for all why real-life Japan is exactly like anime Japan. Number 1, have people to ship? Just wait for the field trip. Slice of life anime comes in all shapes and sizes, from a nerdy guy forced to choose between a buffet of beauties to, I guess that's actually about it. But no matter how many girls are in the harem, there's two main tropes that we can always count on: the ever-present beach episode and the highly anticipated field trip arc. And unfortunately for you degenerates, today we're just going to look at the field trips. Now, I don't know about you, but growing up in snowy Canada, I've never once heard of an entire class taking an overnight trip across the country. But if anime is to be trusted, not only are these trips common, but they're an essential part of the school experience. And, well, the concept is real, because anime doesn't lie. Very often. In Japan, school trips like these are known as Shugaku Ryoko, and typically take place during the graduating year of elementary school, middle school, and of course, high school. Much like school festivals and class duties, the trips are intended to promote teamwork and leadership, blah blah blah, but really they're just for the pillow fights. Hot goss.
Forget about ghost stories. I want to hear how far you've gotten, Tagashi.
And love confessions. Schools from big cities will often head out into the country, while schools from more rural areas go to Antarctica. Just about every time I've been inside of a major Japanese train station, I've seen huge crowds of uniformed youths huddled together on the ground talking quietly amongst themselves, while one kid gets scolded by the teacher for sneaking a cell phone inside of a bag of chips. Or was that... I spend so much time watching anime these days that I'm starting to lose track of reality.
Hey, big brother.
Sorry, one sec, I'm filming. Wait, I don't have a little sister? Number 2, your intentions to follow social conventions might be a little bit cringy. Or is it? If you've watched as much anime as I have, then you're probably around an N2 level Japanese speaker. You know all the essential words like maybe even which is what's called the set phrase, which is just a socially expected response to a given situation, oftentimes one that doesn't actually make any sense when broken down into words. There are a ton of these in anime that you'd probably recognize, like konnichiwa, which while usually translated as hello, it literally means as for today, meaning I will go and come back. Usually translated as I'm home, but actually meaning right now. And of course, which is always translated to let's eat, but actually means I humbly receive. But receive from who? You just made that food yourself. But my point here isn't, haha, Japan's so quirky. It's, haha, language so quirky. After all, we have plenty of set phrases in English, like you're welcome. You're welcome to what? All of a sudden? What's a sudden? Last time I checked, that wasn't a noun. So to speak? Like, what the f does that even mean?
I wumbo, you wumbo.
Basically what I'm saying is language is totally fluid, and words just mean whatever the majority of people agree they do, which is totally poggers when you think about it. And according to a study done by J-Town in 2015, over 90% of people living in Japan perform this pre-meal ritual. I'd love to learn about some set phrases from other countries, so if you know of any good ones, make sure to let me know in the comments. Number 3, when you're done memeing, it's time to get dreamin'. When looking back at iconic pro tags, there are a few dream jobs that seem to come up again and again. Musician, game designer, anime artist, and Hokage. But what do real kids in Japan want to be when they grow up? Well, thanks to a 2019 study by Sony Life Insurance, we have the answer. Coming in at the number 1 spot, with a whopping 30% of middle school boys' dream job, is YouTuber. What am I even doing here? I can't compete with millions of Japanese children. My parents are right. I should just play it safe and become a professional esports player. Oh, for f***'s sake. Number 3, video game designer. 4, programmer. And number 5, CEO. The only job less likely than YouTuber. And as for the shoujo, number 1, musician. 2, manga artist, and then a bunch of selfless real jobs. So it seems to me that anime is just trailing several years behind real life, so things like YouTuber and esports gamer aren't really talked about, but all the more traditional dream jobs are well represented. The only anime I've seen to actually feature a YouTuber was the abysmal Japan Sinks 2020, which had a paramotor piloting DJ turned rapper.
Yeah,
Hey, let's get it.
So this is how the world ends. Not with a bang, but with a...
Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and button.
Number 4. Don't be afraid of the cicada. If you've watched, any anime ever, then you must be triggeringly familiar with a certain soundbite that goes a little something like... It's basically the anime equivalent of the Wilhelm scream. The sound you're hearing is actually the mating call of the terrifying bugs known as cicada, which can attract a girl cicada from over a mile away. Initially, I just assumed that this was just an anime trope used as a way to convey the summer heat through sound. But after doing some research, I've discovered that not only is this sound an important part of Japanese culture, but one of the biggest struggles the island nation faces is the ever-increasing number of cicada bombs. People are boarding up their windows and locking themselves inside out of fear of encountering one of these cicada bombs. In some twisted form of psychological warfare, the conniving critters flip onto their backs and pretend to be dead until approached by an innocent passerby, at which point they flip over and skirt around screaming at the top of their lungs for no other reason than to f**k with us. A problem so prevalent that news organizations run instructional videos on how to spot the fakers. But what about the non-psychopathic cicada? Well, they're actually quite beloved in Japan. When you think about summer, you probably have some nostalgic sights, smells, and sounds that bring you back to your childhood spent seeing other kids play outside while you sit at home and watch anime. Well, in the Japanese countryside, summer just isn't summer without the constant chirping from off in the distance. So much so that they even gave it a name, Higurashi, meaning evening cicadas. Does that mean the anime is not about Higu getting a rash? It's even a common pastime for Japanese children to grab their nets, meet up with their squad, and hunt them down, which is actually the origin of Pokemon. Its creator Satoshi Tajiri's nickname as a kid was Bugsan. Very creative. The hotter it is outside, the more intense the sound. So for anyone who's grown up in Japan, the quickest way for an anime to convey its setting is through... Number 5. Who needs a degree when you've got Kohi? Whether you're Hikigaya level obsessed with the beautiful bean brew, or have terrible taste like Nishikata, it's hard to argue with coffee's magical ability to make you forget that you're completely exhausted for a few hours until... Much like in anime, there is a great deal of pressure placed on adults and kids alike to excel at their endeavors, which most of the time in anime means studying for exams, participating in clubs, and kicking it with your harem. But who has time to sleep when you're busy juggling 3, 4, 10 girls at once? Not anime protags. That's why it's all too common a sight to see them ordering a steamy cup of joe from family restaurants, cafes, and most commonly, vending machines. But is coffee actually as popular as it seems? Back in the simpler time known only as 2012, when our biggest worry was that the Mayans couldn't count very high, it really wasn't too common to see my teenage brethren drinking straight coffee. It certainly did happen, but nothing compared to now when my body is more bean than man. But being such a common anime trope, I was shocked to learn that despite their vending machine overlords, Japan is a pathetic number 43 when it comes to coffee consumption, drinking less than half of what Canada does, sitting proudly at number 19. No big deal or anything, just sitting top 10% in the world. But that doesn't necessarily mean that anime is wrong. Due to its incredibly convenient availability, I still have to imagine its purchase by high schoolers is much more common than the rest of the world. If you enjoyed this video, you can find 3 more just like it in this playlist here. Thanks so much for watching.